Hello and welcome back to Game Day All Access. Right now it's time here for us to dive in and talk about our Game Day Power Poll that is up on our website. For all of you MVP members out there, this is the breakdown that Mike Cerrone does with us here on a weekly basis. And we welcome in Mike to talk about this week's Game Day Power Poll. New number one, Mike. That's always the first thing you talk about when a top-ranked team gets knocked out, and that's what happened with Broad Run last week. What did that do to the Power Poll here as you were writing it this week, in your opinion?
I think the Road Warriors of Sparty, Broad Run, we couldn't put them out of the top 10. When you think about it, yes, they lost to Stonebridge, which is their crosstown rival, but at the same time, they've been playing on the road all season, so we had to keep them in the top 10. They're at number 8 right now, but we moved everyone in the top 5 up: South County, Lake Braddock, Tusky, and Westfield. So when you're looking at it right now, I definitely believe Broad Run should stay in the top 10 because of how many games they've won so far and all on the road. So definitely Broad Run stays in the top 10, but South County, the Stallions, galloping in their way into number 1.
You know, South County, for the most part of the whole season, has probably been saying, hey, what do we have to do to be ranked number 1 in your poll? I mean, they have an argument with that, in my opinion. But, who's the other team in your eyes that could be ranked number 1 and be, able to go out and argue with everybody about it and have a good argument? Who do you think?
I mean, definitely, I think the Westfield Bulldogs, obviously seeing them for the first time last week against Robinson with a 3-0 victory, they definitely have a case to be number 1. Yes, they're at number 4 right now because they have that one loss against South County, but now they're at full strength. They got all their guys back. Even Clancy is out for the year with a torn ACL, so when you're looking at it, Westfield definitely has a case to be number 1. Obviously, they have that one blemish against South County, as I said before, but Westfield, seeing how great their defense is, just wait and see. Once they get, past Centerville and Chantilly and everything like that, once those games become final, we'll see what Westfield does come the end of the regular season.
Well, the one team that I think has something to prove this week is Tuscarora. They're ranked number 3 right now in the poll, and they've played so-so. I mean, they've got some big wins. They're 8-0. I mean, all you can do is win the games on your schedule. But we saw last week Stonebridge expose some things with Broad Run. And I'm kind of wondering if that might happen this week with Tuscarora. And I think that's the one team in the top 3 that could say, hey, we're the number 1 team, although they still have to kind of prove it with a Stonebridge team coming to town that is just knocked off number 1. So that's the game I'm kind of looking at. I think that's the one that could be the most intriguing here. But tell me about the teams in the last half of the poll that could make a position to move up or make a case to move up after a big win this week. Who do you have?
I mean, it's really hard because the bottom half of the poll, there's not really one team that has a huge matchup, like, say, for bubble teams or whatever it may be, but I'm going to have to go with Broad Run again. I think, it's a loss to Stonebridge. Okay, it didn't go their way last week, but they play Oakton, and they also finish up with Robinson, Tuscarora coming up for the end of their season. So I'm looking at it within the next couple weeks to see if Broad Run can actually continue their streak and hopefully beat an Oakton team that, has been in games pretty much the whole entire year. And also the Rams of Robinson is going to be a tough one as well because we saw how great their defense is, holding Westfield to only 3 points and a lot of other teams to low-scoring efforts as well. So basically, I'm looking at Broad Run. And also, like I said, the bottom half of the poll, it's going to probably stay around the same because I expect a lot of these teams to come out with victories. But overall, I have to give it to Broad Run, the bottom half of the poll, possibly to make a little bit of a jump here.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the bubble teams, the teams on the outside looking in. And you moved Sharando out of your poll this week. Why are they out of the Game Day Power Poll after being undefeated? What do you think?
They're undefeated, but, I've been just thinking about it and saying their strength of schedule is just not up to par in my book. I just don't think that, yes, they're 7-0, and Stephen City is rocking over there, being undefeated and everything like that. But I kept them at number 11 just because, yes, they are undefeated, but like I said, the strength of schedule just doesn't do it for me. I just don't understand, obviously, like you said earlier, you play who's on your schedule, and they've taken care of business so far. But overall, the teams ahead of them right now, I believe, have better strength of schedules and have played tougher opponents overall throughout the season that they deserve to be up there, even if they have one loss.
The one team that made a big jump this week was Woodgrove. They come all the way into the poll after being on the bubble last week after that big win over Heritage, and Heritage dropped back to 15. We're learning about teams, obviously. You know, Mike Skinner has a great program at Woodgrove. They're always tough. They played really hard-nosed football against Heritage, and the one thing about them is they played John Champ the first game of the year, and they've won 6 consecutive games. So you got to give them a little credit here. Woodgrove starting to make a move here in the power poll. Probably won't be tested the rest of the way. In my opinion, this is a team that has a chance to kind of continue to climb here with their schedule. But the final question here, the team on the outside looking in that has the most to gain this week and maybe who can get into the poll, would you consider it to be Stonebridge if they can knock off Tuscarora? What do you think?
I'm going to give you 2 teams. Obviously, the Robinson Rams are 1, and they barely lost to Westfield, which they probably should have won late, as we said before. They play against Herndon this week, so we'll see if they can dominate the Hornets there. But Stonebridge, as you said, they play number 3 Tuscarora at Fortune Field, which earlier in the whole entire Power Poll videos we've been doing, Fortune Field's very, very, very difficult to win at. I mean, let's be honest here. And Stonebridge, they're going to renew this whole entire coaching rivalry with Coach Burnett and Coach Thompson. So we'll have to see if Stonebridge can finish strong here. They obviously beat Broad Run last week. They have Tuscarora this week, Potomac Falls, and then Briarwood. So they have a tough stretch coming up here. So I'm going to go with Stonebridge trying to play Tuscarora this week. And if Stonebridge wins, you might see a huge shakeup in the Power Poll that next week.
All right, Mike Cerrone joining us here to talk about the Game Day Power Poll that is now out on our website. Take a look at it here. Mike, thanks for joining us, buddy. We look forward to talking next week.
Thanks, Andy. Talk next week.
All right, there's your look here at this week's Game Day Power Poll. We'll see you next time here on the Game Day Broadcast Network.